My bad, Kyle, about the link, man. Because I sent the email, but I didn't send no link. But
No, that's cool.
all good. But yeah, man. Let me change the. I think we're waiting for Tay to get in here. But welcome back to another episode of the JJ Sports Talk. Like again, I'm your host Jordan Jean Louis, Big J, no skip. um, It is currently 3:02 on the East Coast. I'm assuming like 12 something on the West Coast. Yeah, man, Kyle, how you feeling, my dog?
Yeah, man, I'm good. There's no more NFL, but NBA, we got All Star game coming up, which I'm interested to see some of it. And baseball's about to get started, so sports continues on.
I, your mic on my end sounds like it's on speakerphone or whatever. It's like far away.
Oh, let me see.
Do you have your settings right with your mic and everything?
Yeah, yeah, it looks right. So you're saying it just sounds what far away?
It kind of. I mean, it's alright. I mean, I can still hear you clear. It's not as loud as like when you're up near the mic. It's not as I guess close to like. Can you hear me close, like loud and clear?
Yeah, I mean, I can turn up the volume on my end.
Oh, okay. Maybe try to do that because it sounds like you're on a speakerphone on mine. Maybe try to just like a little bit.
All right, is that better?
Yeah, it's a little better. It still feels like it's like on speakerphone a little bit, but it's all good.
It might just be the microphone. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, man. As we wait for our guest Tay Hopkins to hop in the stream. Let's get right to it, man. Super Bowl 57 just passed us. I believe it's 57.
Hmm.
Chiefs, Eagles. Chiefs win the game 38-35 off of a field goal, off of a controversial, I would say, for Chiefs fans, a defensive holding call, which we both talked on the show on the network,
Hmm.
the Sports Empire Network, that it was a holding or it wasn't or not, like, but we both wanted to, well, me and you both wanted the game to be called a different way or in a different way. As far as like Gene said, uh, he rather have Jalen Hurts fumble the ball or throw a pick or fourth three and out rather than the game ending on a controversial little knick-knack kind of flag. So yeah, just give me your little. So give me like your input on the whole, on the outcome situation, and tell me your thought process, man, of the
Yeah,
game.
I feel like for a lot of people, the holding call itself wasn't the issue. It was just that it was something that wasn't called throughout the game. So with a lot of players, they try to figure out the tendencies of the referees to see how much they can get away with. So if that's something Bradbury was kind of doing most of the game, but then they called it at that point, that's where I feel like a lot of people have the issue because, you know, yes, the Chiefs were in field goal range. So, worst case, they just kicked the field goal a little bit earlier with like a minute and a half to go. Then we get to see could Jalen Hurts pull off some magic, almost like Brady did back in the day when he was a young player trying to make a name for himself. He had that Super Bowl moment where, John Madden was like, take a knee, go for overtime, but he made plays down the field that led to a game winning field goal. So if Hurts could have done something like that, I feel like that would have made the moment kind of fit where the game was going. Or even, like you said, and what Gene said a lot, even if Hurts tried to do it and threw an interception or something, or they went 4 and out or something like that, that you could handle instead of this call that everybody's now talking about the game in reference to the call. And it's almost like the greatness of the game, which it was, is getting pushed to the back burner because everybody wants to just talk about was it a hold? Should it have been called? Did it? Is that the call that gave the Chiefs the win and stuff like that? So I think that's where a lot of the issue is with all of this.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like but like we both said, I mean, the money line for Philadelphia was a one half point favorite. Going to the Chiefs way, I mean, going to Eagles way. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, prior to the game, so I mean, it was. I guess you can say it was neutral. Um, and Mahomes didn't get sacked, and like I said, like the key to that, or one of the keys to that game was in order for the Chiefs to win the game, the O line probably would have to play their best or show their best performance
Mm-hmm.
in protecting Mahomes. And Mahomes did go down. He was grimacing even harder in pain than he did against the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he retweaked his ankle, but maybe he got a shot. Maybe it was adrenaline. Maybe it was extra taped up. Because he was in pain. I mean, you can tell like he was like grimacing hard on the
Mm-hmm.
sideline. Couldn't barely walk over to the sideline. Couldn't even barely put pressure on that foot. But like Chiefs fans alike, man, like Mahomes is a warrior, and he would do whatever he needs to, in order for his team to have the best chance to win the game. So I mean, yeah, but that call, I mean, yeah, like Gene said, the throw was not catchable. The ball was 15 yards over his head. Um, could Juju could Juju have caught that? Probably not. But it's just those knick knack kind of those ticky tack fouls or flags that. And then again, like he did kind of hold his waist a little bit, but it wasn't as like to be fair, like he did. It's not like he didn't hold him or grab his little bit jersey. He did kind of have the arm wrapped around him, but in that situation, I'd rather have the game end on, like you said, Hurts having that Tom Brady esque moment. Never give Tom Brady or never give Pat Mahomes or a star quarterback that time to end the game moment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I mean they did have 11 seconds on the clock. I think. Now people would say that even if they didn't call the flag, Chiefs would have still kicked the field goal. It would have still been up two, but or three, but there would have been a lot more time on the clock
Yeah.
for her to make something happen. So, um, but overall, like, did the game live up to your expectations? As like back and forth, kind of
Yeah.
good
I mean,
defense, good offense.
there was a little more scoring than I thought because I predicted something like I think like 30-26, so just a little bit more scoring. But I did expect back and forth. I thought Jalen Hurts, to be honest, probably exceeded my expectations of him because he had a pretty complete game. He made a lot of plays with his arm. They put the ball in his hands a lot in terms of the running game, and he, performed well as performed well in that aspect. The for Nick Sirianni as a young coach in this situation, I thought he did well. Now we could talk about defensively. Maybe that I mean that's definitely where they fell short, but you're also asking them to try to stop Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid offense for 4 quarters, which not a lot of teams can do in the NFL. But yeah, it definitely lived up to my expectations. It's hopefully this isn't Jalen Hurts' only attempt at it because he is such an exciting player, but we just never know because with the NFL, it's hard. It's hard to win games in the NFL, and then it's hard to win playoff games in the NFL as well. So hopefully the Eagles can kind of keep a good number of players together because they are going to lose some players. That's going to happen. Some guys are going to price themselves out. Teams are going to maybe throw more than the Chiefs are willing to I guess, match. So we'll have to see what the Eagles look like next season. But I thoroughly enjoyed watching the Eagles. Chiefs, I knew what we were going to get from the Chiefs. I mean, Mahomes proved all year. A lot of people doubted him with no Tyreek Hill. He still had an MVP season. So, you know, Valdez Scanling and Juju Smith Schuster, yeah, those were his starting wide receivers, but he still had Travis Kelsey. So I got everything I knew I was going to get from Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, as far as personnel on both sides, I think it was pretty. I mean, obviously, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are kind of like you really can't compare the two that you mentioned, like that and Stanley and like Juju Smith. I think Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are way better receivers than than talented receivers than those two. But I mean, if someone had if I was at a bar, right, and someone asked me Super Bowl, Dallas Goddard or Kelsey to win the game, I say Kelsey. Um, I mean, he had a good game. Um, and like I said, like yeah, Mahomes didn't get sacked. Now, how I was trying to figure if he didn't get sacked, how did he get like tripped up when he had that ankle, or did he get wrapped up, or like how did he?
He was scrambling. It was like a 3rd and 15 play. Nobody was open downfield, so he was scrambling around to, I guess, take off. It might have been, I'm trying to think who it was. Somebody got him by the ankle, took him down, and that's why he.
But he threw the ball out of bounds, right? So it wasn't a sack.
Oh, he still had it in his hand. He
So
was looking around to extend the play. I feel like he was about to take off because it kind of opened up on that side and there was room in front of him. He might have been a little hesitant in terms of running on the ankle, but yeah, he got caught from behind and grabbed by his ankle. So that's why he was in pain. Which they had him mic'd up, and I saw that kind of after the game, and he like was legitimately like, "Ow, ow, ow!" So
yeah, he was. I mean, I wasn't gonna be like shocked if he didn't play because he was hurt. He was hurt. But I'm not surprised he didn't go back in because like he went back in against the Bengals the the prior game. So now Chiefs won. The Super Bowl is in the rearview mirror. I believe the franchise tag window opens up March 7th, um, or it starts like next week. But players have until March 7th to like that deadline to like franchise tag or sign a
that
player,
sounds
I
about
believe. Um, so before we get to that aspect of the offseason, because we have a see that's what I like about sports, man. Sports, yeah, the season might end, the playoffs might end,
right.
but sports is like there's a lot of content, and
Mm-hmm.
with all season news and coach firings and coach hirings and signings, it produces a lot of content. So before we get into the players who particularly are on the market for free agency and franchise tag all that, let's go through the coaches. We just talked about the Chiefs. The whole big story is Eric Bieniemy. He has a interview lined up for the Commanders. I think it's him and Greg Roman as far as the only OCs who have been interviewed for the position. Um, People say that Eric Bieniemy is shouldn't even have to really prove himself to be an OC for an front of team because he's been with the Chiefs for so many years with Mahomes and helped them develop Mahomes. But um, Andy Reid has been calling the shots, on the other side of the ball. So
I do think that is a factor. Yes.
it's a big factor. But and I think I mean like we can agree. I mean I don't. feel ashamed of saying this, but I think it could be the color of his skin too. But now, don't get me wrong. I know D'Amico Ryan got hired, Texans job, awesome hire. People want to bring up his background, as just outside of the coaching aspect of things. They said he's not really a good interviewee.
Hmm.
When so that could be a factor. But come on, like let's discuss the elephant in the room here. Like the NFL, in my eyes, has done a terrible job with dealing with minority and African American coaches, and I'm just tired of like,
I kind of disagree with that
oh
in a certain
man,
aspect because everybody looks at the Rooney Rule and they say everybody looks at the Rooney Rule and they're like, "Oh, I hate the rule." Okay, but how was it before the rule? It was worse. What the rule was implemented for, what it's kind of done, it's technically done its job because you're forcing teams to interview people. That's usually where it starts. The problem before was you would have minority candidates that weren't even getting interviewed. So the Rooney Rule was put in place to stop that. I'm fine with that. What people have to realize is the Rooney Rule, Goodell, and all that, they can't force the owners to do what they don't want to do. That's the issue. I wouldn't say the NFL has failed. It's the owners who, you're looking at owners that are like 80, 85 years old. Whatever their mentality is, you're not changing that at this point. I don't care what you do. The only way maybe is if you fine them for not hiring people, then that kind of leads to a different road where now it seems like people are only getting positions because of this. Where I don't want to see that either. So until one, you see more, I guess, minority ownership in the NFL, where the only way you're going to get that is some of these dudes got to die off. Not to take it to a dark place, but that's where it's got to go. Unless they do some Daniel Snyder stuff where, the league can kind of force them to sell. But even then, they'll probably just sell to some other person. And then we got to wonder how will they handle all of this? I just feel like until we see kind of the age and the demographic of NFL owners change, whether it's younger or minority, we might keep running into this issue. So I wouldn't necessarily put that on the NFL itself. I'd put that on the owners because if I look around the league, there's a few owners I could say that I could see hiring a minority coach with no issue. And Pittsburgh, where they named the rule after, obviously they don't have an issue with it because they have Tomlin there. I see Robert Kraft as a guy because we saw this offseason. Gerard Mayo was about to leave, and reportedly, Robert Kraft told him that, well, he made it a point that they wanted to keep him around because the Krafts loved Gerard Mayo to the point that they think he could actually be the guy to, be the next coach in line when Bill Belichick moves on. Which, if you think about it, that's pretty big praise. So, but then you look at the other end of the spectrum. Jerry Jones, Jim Irsay, Dan Snyder, Stephen Ross, guys like that, they're a major issue in the NFL. So until those guys move on or sell because there's some new hip thing that they want to get into, it's like I don't know what the NFL can necessarily do. Now, D'Amico Ryan's got the head coaching job in Houston, where a lot of people thought Houston was one of those teams where a minority shouldn't go. Well, D'Amico Ryan's didn't have an issue going back there. I think they've kind of tweaked their front office a little bit, so maybe that helped. But it kind of is the situation that it is. Now, I'm also one who can celebrate minority coordinator hires because yes, it's not a head coaching job, but at least they're kind of in a position that's, a little bit on the higher level of the ladder where you're like right below a head coach. If it was something where like minority coaches were getting like third special teams coach, then we'd have a real problem. So I think it does get better eventually. It's just every year it's going to be a talked about point.
Well, Kyle, you do make some good points, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you on just a couple of things you said.
Okay.
I like that reaction, man. Look, like, oh man, she streamer doesn't do that. But
Yeah.
now I get your point. Like maybe as far as the head coaching job in Pittsburgh, because that's where the role started. But I'm tired of Roger Goodell basically trying to save face. He's like, I think a reporter asked him, "Oh, how are you improving the minority, like aspect, of coaches?"
Hmm.
And like Goodell is like, we're doing pretty good in that aspect, but we don't have hardly. I think Mike Tomlin is the only like active like black head coach. When that would well, that's been a head coach, um, like in recent years, and now D'Amico Ryan's the head coach now. But
Well,
he's
apparently
just
Mike McDaniel's biracial.
uh, he's white to me, man. He acts white to me, so it's like
Well, I mean, if we're gonna
well,
claim
no, I mean,
and we're gonna claim Pat Mahomes, if Mike McDaniel is biracial, you gotta give him
I
credit for
haven't
that.
seen my Mike McDaniel's parents. I mean, I've seen Mahomes' dad. He is
Hmm.
African black, man. He is like just like Cool said. But I don't know. Like it is facts that Mike McDaniel has black, but he acts white, man. But um, yeah, like I'm tired of I mean we all agree that Eric Bieniemy deserves the head coaching job. Like there's so many other um I mean obviously yes the Cardinals job. I mean head coach job maybe. Well now Gannon's the coach, but like I get that situation. It's kind of murky, because like it's kind of a rebuild. I feel like Eric Bieniemy wants to go somewhere where it's kind of a rebuild, but we're like established. You know what I'm saying? Like go to, for example, like Miami, where you have Tua to work with, and Waddle and Hale still there. You know what I'm saying? Just for like an example, or even the Jets have. I mean, they could probably either get um Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers, or plan to keep well, now they do have Salah. He's Muslim, so it's kind of a minority there. But it's
That
just
counts.
that's it. That's an example of like a team where I see Eric going to, where it's like, yeah, you haven't really been winning games as much, but you have a core where you can bid around with, you know, Elijah Moore. You have a pretty good defense. Um, uh, Now, if he would take the job in like Carolina, where it's like they haven't really been winning as much, or I mean, we all see what Dan Campbell done with the. I mean, well, he's a white dude, but we all know what he's done with that team, turn that around. Um, I mean, I guess so. I guess I mean, well, the Commanders they have Chad Henne, and they have no wait, he's the quarterback, right, for the Commanders, or is
No,
he
that's
the Chiefs?
Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke.
Oh, Taylor Heineke. Taylor
Yeah.
Heineke. I knew it was one of the liquors. Henny or Heineken. Like get a Heineken. But so I mean, is that a team? I mean, they get work around. I mean, they got Torrey McLaurin. They have or Brian Roberts. Um, so it's
But
like
if he does get that coordinator job, And even if Ron Rivera comes back, Ron Rivera is kind of on a hot seat. So maybe that's a job that he's the coordinator for a year, and then maybe he's the head coach the following year. Maybe he sees that as a path to getting in the job. Which in that case, I mean, could you blame him if that's the route he wanted to go through? It could also be maybe some of these jobs haven't interested him enough that if he went for an interview, maybe he would have gotten them. I don't know.
That's the
I
only
don't know.
question I have. It's like, what
Yeah,
situation do we see Eric going to? Do we see him going to a rebuilding team? Like, I know.
maybe he doesn't want that. What if he's looking at the Chargers job because they didn't fire Staley this time? If they were to fire Staley next year, could the enemy get that job? Who knows? And would you say that that's not a good position for him to get? He'd have a quarterback in Justin Herbert. I mean, yes, he'd be in the same division with Kansas City, but he kind of knows the ins and outs of Kansas City, so maybe he gets a leg up in that case. Maybe he goes off for a place for a few years. Andy Reid decides to retire. He goes back to Kansas City and gets that job. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, it's just crazy that every like coaching cycle, it seems like the enemy becomes the story. Whereas,
I mean, I feel like he deserves a job somewhere. Obviously he does have a job
I,
in Kansas City, but it's like
I mean, I
how
don't know
long?
why. Well, I don't know why he has this, stigma of being poor in interviews because I haven't sat in
I
on
don't
any of the
know.
interviews. Like, how bad of an interview could he be? Is it like showing up late, not answering questions? Like, what does that mean? Is it something where, what you kind of alluded to, he's been under Andy Reid so much, and he has Patrick Mahomes? Is it just that he's not getting any credit because of Andy Reid and how good of a talent Patrick Mahomes is? So certain teams, you know, combining that with some of the answers he gives, maybe they're just like, we're good. So I don't know if I would, you know, put everything on just him and him not getting a job because, like I said, we saw D'Amico Ryans get a job after, he kind of shot up people's coaching boards in a couple of years as a defense coordinator. He got one. Now, everybody will point to like Jim Caldwell's and Leslie Frazier's, Todd Bowl types. Yes, they've had their positions. They probably didn't get as much time in those, and that's an issue as well. But once again, that goes back to these owners. The owners who will sit there and go, we'll get Adam Gase because he coached Peyton Manning for a couple of years. So clearly he knows what he's doing. Then you hire him. He's trash at it. He gets another opportunity. Now, luckily, he's not even in the league anymore. I think he's coaching like high school or something. And apparently he's trash down there too. So, I mean, I don't know. When it comes to coaching every year, it's always weird to me because people make it seem like, Goodell's supposed to sit there and be like, all right, the enemy, you're getting this job no matter what. Ryan's, you're getting this job. You're getting this job. You're getting that job. It doesn't work that way. And we also can't, put minority people in every job because there are, you know, white candidates that are qualified as well. And I feel like those instances can't get wrapped up in all these either. It's the ones with the questionable decisions. Those are the ones that we look at because every good there's like one or two of those, but it's not like the other guys aren't qualified. Like I'm not mad Shane Steichen got a job. He was Eagles coordinator. They had a great offense. Gannon, up until the Super Bowl, the Eagles defense was one of the best in the league. I don't have a problem with that. Also, that message is from Ty. I just looked it up on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah. It would make sense. He's talking about his Chiefs. Um, yeah, I mean, there. I guess though my question is for Eric is like, what opportunities fits best for him? Does he want to go to a team that's already established in the league? As, like a Chargers team who has Herbert. Can Eric, hold out and wait for Staley to move out, or so we can develop Herbert. But then again, like I heard Keenan Allen, they'll be cutting him for cap casualty, so they might not have him to work with. I mean, Mike Williams is injury prone. He
Hmm.
can't really stay hurt for healthy for a whole year, so they need to get some receivers. And now Keith is putting a group chat that Hopkins, with his freaking no trade clause,
Hmm.
he doesn't have the choice to due to his like PEDs. He can't even choose a team now. So it's like there's a no guarantee they'll get him or another receiver of that caliber. So I mean, I know they have Eckler, but um, it looks like the Chargers are looking to cut some people to make some cap space for defensive players. So now it's going to be interesting to see how these teams, go forth with cutting people, and for us, is it like cutting Chuck Clark to make cap space to sign a receiver, or and then draft the cornerback in the draft, or cut Marcus Peters on the defense side to make. I know Clay Campbell say he's coming back for his another season, so I mean, I think we still can cut him, but I'm pretty sure he wants to play one more year. But that's a question. Like, these teams might have to sacrifice some players in order to keep that stability. So it's it's gonna be interesting to see like what these teams do in the in the offseason and the free agency. So uh, like
Also,
anything that we
one
did. Oh yeah,
well, one thing about the owners, because I remember I saw this story a few weeks ago from the Carolina owner, because they had a history with Jerry Richardson, who did some questionable things in the past. He moved on, and now they have a new owner, David Tepper, and he made comments about the old boys network that everybody talks about in terms of the ownership groups within the NFL. And he said that he's one of those who wants to kind of break it up. Now, people look at him and say, "Well, you didn't hire Steve Wilkes, you hired Frank Reich." Yeah, that's true, but he talked about that he's doing. If I can find the quote, but he's kind of going about it differently in terms of the front office, because he I think has like, I found it, yeah. So he has like two African American people that are in the front office, so it's not necessarily the head coaching part. And I think he's trying to say like, if we can get more involvement in that aspect of it, then it'll kind of trickle down to the coaches, which I guess is kind of where I was going with it, where you know we can't necessarily look at the league as a whole. It's more of these guys at the ownership who put more people around them that look like them, talk like them, just say yes to everything that they do, instead of bringing in diversity, getting you know, different opinion in the room. That way, if there's a couple minority people there in the interviewing process, maybe minority coaches and stuff get a better chance. So I just wanted to say that because it starts with him. If it gets to a few more owners, then we may actually see this changing league wide.
yeah. I mean, the NFL. I mean, they have time to make this better for minorities. I mean, I would not argue if the NFL brings in like a female coach. I know we have some female coaches like on some teams, but I don't. I mean, I'd be in favor of having a female head coach. You know what I'm saying? Like another another. I
I
mean,
feel
slowly
like you're
we might.
further away from that in the NFL than other sports, because the NFL is seen as so
A male
macho and
dominant.
all that. Yeah, that might be the last league we see it in, to be honest. I feel like basketball would be
But like
first.
we've seen some. I mean, I don't know any names, but I know we've had some women on the doing
Yeah,
like
position coaches, yes,
yeah,
that's
especially
one
yeah.
thing. I think as a head coach, we might be a
I mean,
little
I'd
bit
be
ways
opposed
off
to
from that.
having I mean, or I wouldn't be opposed to having a woman GM. We slowly seen the
I
baseball. I
guess.
think Seattle Mariners GM is a woman, I believe.
Yeah, that's
She
that's not an issue because there's women owners in the league.
right.
I think
So
I know the Bills, I believe, are owned by a woman. And there's a few other teams that have like women in the ownership group. So that part I don't have an issue with. But in terms of head coaches, I don't know how far off we are, but I think we're still some years away from that.
right. So I guess before we go into the NBA, just a couple. I guess the big elephant in the room is Lamar Jackson. The Ravens did sign or hire or fill the OC position. Todd Monken. I'm trying to go on Twitter. I found some interesting stats on his career. But
He has coached the NFL before.
yeah,
Is
he
that right?
has. I was gonna pop those stats because they know he was on
He
the
coached on the
Browns,
Browns and the
the
Bucks.
Buccaneers, and both. That was the year when Mayfield had like 300 or 3,000 passing yards. Um, that one year, and then he left and they went to the Buccaneers, and then they're like third. He was I think they're third in offense, um, in total offense and stuff. So I mean, it's not like we signed nobody off like somebody off the street. We signed a very well respected coordinator. I know he recently came from the college realm, but still, was there for 3 years, 2 years, built the offense to lead the Georgia Bulldogs to a national championship on that side of the ball. I mean, he's a pro style, I would say pro style coordinator where he uses two tight end sets like the Ravens love doing. He uses a little bit of like Greg Roman's like running game, but I think he's a lot better. Um, running the ball than doing play action. Um, Before they made the decision, Lamar was on Twitter was like, I think he retweeted or quoted this tweet. I was like, "Oh, Lamar played in a pro style offense in Louisville," and then he was like, or some kind of tweet, and then Lamar was like pro style or whatever. He agreed to that. So I mean, the Ravens bring in a um a very well, and I didn't see any negative tweets or anything on social media saying it was a bad decision. I mean, Des Bryant came out. I think very high respected players. Um, Came out and said, "Oh, this is a very, very, very good hire for Lamar Jackson." Depending on if we can, work out a deal. So I just want to hear your aspect on that. Like, do you see, with them hiring this Todd? I mean, he's been in the league. He's trusted amongst his peers. Do you think that this is a sign, a small step in keeping Lamar Jackson? And do you, I mean, and I heard that depending on the personnel that he has to work with, he he elevates his players on that side of the ball to, because it's with his play style, it kind of like elevates, because he already has Mark Andrews as a tight end. Leakley's I know young, second year this year coming up. But Andrews has been known to be a proven tight end in the league. To keep Lamar Jackson, maybe sign maybe one or two, maybe draft the receiver in a draft. Um, Anything can happen. So, do you think this is a small baby step in keeping Lamar with this kind of play style offense?
I mean, I honestly don't know because if I look at Georgia the past couple of years, yes, they won back to back national championships. Yeah. What would you say they won that championship off of the back of? Their defense and like running game. That's literally what you had in Baltimore this whole time. So I don't know how that would be any different. Maybe he tweaks the offense a certain way or whatever. But if I look at Georgia over the years, name a Georgia quarterback that's killed it in the NFL.
I don't know.
Exactly. You'd have to go all the way back to Matthew Stafford, and that was forever ago. So it's not like they brought in a guy who I'm trying to think, like Lincoln Riley or something, where he's gone to USC. They had Caleb Williams, who's a mobile guy, won the Heisman. They brought in somebody like that. I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. This just seems like Greg Roman 2.0 to me because
I don't know
Georgia's
about that,
always
man.
been a running back school and defense. Looking around the NFL, a lot of the Georgia players, running back, linebackers, D linemen. How many wide receivers from Georgia do you see killing it in the NFL? Hmm? There's George Pickens from Pittsburgh. After that, I can't remember. But running backs, we could run through the running backs who've done well in the NFL because you know Sony Michelle was a high pick, Todd Gurley. Go on down the line. You can name the running backs. You can name offensive linemen, I guess. But quarterback and wide receiver, Georgia hasn't necessarily killed it there. So that's why I'm like, that's what Monken's been coaching the past couple of years in Georgia. Why would that really change once he gets to Baltimore? Especially when you look at a
Um,
Baltimore team that has good running backs, good offensive line, wide receivers are, I guess there's just question marks at this point because Bateman's gotten hurt. Duvernay is a really good special teamer in terms of being a wide receiver. We haven't seen it from him yet. But I mean, I don't know. I'd have to see him, coach a few games and see if the offense actually looks any different. That's my only thing.
yeah, because his last Georgia's last game under Monk. Well, I know this is college, but this is what potentially you can be saying on the Ravens and on the NFL. His last game under Todd Monken, 65 points, 589 yards, 32 first downs, and 8.2 yards per play. That was his last game under Monken. So I mean, I know that like I said, it's college. College and NFL
Yeah, but
can't
for
compare,
those
but
yards, what was the breakdown? Like how many rushing yards did that? Was it 500 whatever?
I think it was 589. What did this have? This says 589 yards. I'm pretty sure passing yards.
No, because I remember that game in
That was his last game. So probably, I'm pretty sure the national
yeah, that
championship
was
game.
the national championship where Stetson Bennett had a really good game. He also made a lot of plays with his legs. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can look it up really quickly.
Also, they said that the report that Lamar did have like some input into this decision, like they said in the So I'm assuming they kind of like went to Lamar and was like, hey, like bringing you this offensive coordinator, how you like him, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna that's it's a small factor in keeping him. Obviously, it's we'll see how well it fits Lamar's play style. I mean, obviously we know he's a play action guy, can run to the pocket, look for tight ends. But can Monken can he unlock Lamar's arm with his play action and using tight end schemes um, and it all depends on like who we get in all season as far as our receiver depth and and personnel. So, but I just read on Twitter and online that whatever personnel that Monken has, he makes it better, and that was the NFL and college. So, um,
All right, so I just pulled up the box score.
okay.
They had 254 yards rushing. Their leading receiver was the tight end. Tell me where you've seen that before. That's been Baltimore the past 5, 6
Oh, how
years.
many passing yards though?
Yeah, Bennett had 300 yards passing. Bennett's also not Lamar Jackson.
Oh, well, I know that, but I'm saying that
It's also
it's
saying
like,
like I don't know
but that proves that
how.
his play, but that proves that
Yeah,
his
but
officer's
Stetson Bennett
mind
had
is
300 yards passing. 152 went to the tight end.
what they couldn't guard the tight end. That's why.
But
That's
That
true.
just
That's
lets you
true.
know it's based off of the tight end getting open. That's what Baltimore's offense has been. That's why I'm like, I don't know how much that'll necessarily change because Monken's coming in. So that's it. I mean, is it a good hire? I mean, they just won back-to-back national championships, so clearly he knows what he's doing on that side of the ball. But I don't know. I don't know because I still have questions in terms of how comfortable Lamar is throwing outside the numbers. We know Lamar can throw over the middle to Mark Andrews. That's why Mark Andrews is his number one wide receiver. Is Monken going to come in and just keep that philosophy in, or will he keep aspects of that as well as put in some outside the number plays to force Lamar to do that, and then we kind of see what he can do in an offense like that. That's the question. I mean, I don't have a problem with the move. I still also say a lot of the Greg Roman slander that came this past year. I mean, I thought Baltimore fans were kind of pinning the blame necessarily on the not at the right person because Greg Roman was the coordinator for a lot of these years. He was the MVP year coordinator, so he obviously knew how to work with Lamar. Yes, this past year it was frustrating to watch early in the season Baltimore put up a lot of points, and then all of a sudden it seemed like they couldn't do it anymore. So I get that, but I don't know. I wouldn't say that this move automatically means Lamar is coming back. I'm not going to go that far because we still don't know what Baltimore's going to offer him and what he's looking for. If those two sides don't meet, they could hire Lamar's mom to be offensive coordinator, and I still wouldn't say that means he's coming back.
Hmm. I mean, as far as this feedback on because people like once like coaches and coordinators are hired, the fan base, the NFL reacts. Oh, this is a good signing. I don't know about this. But I mean, I haven't really seen any negative like comments about I mean, I saw a little bit of like why they fire an old coordinator, bring in some new young blood. Um, but I mean, would you rather hire someone with new, or would you rather hire someone with knowledge and experience?
There's
Um,
young guys with knowledge and experience.
uh,
Lincoln Riley's a young guy. I wouldn't have a doubt he could run an NFL offense.
oh no, what I'm saying is just any old or any random new guy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they. I mean, I know Eric Bieniemy was a candidate um, for the coordinator job, but Ravens maybe. Well, I'm not sure. So I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm not sure what kind of offense or what kind of. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say because he wasn't really calling the plays. So I don't know if is he a pro style coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, or I don't know what he is. Um,
Well, if you're bringing him in to be a candidate, you're assuming that the offense they run in Kansas City is his offense. Otherwise, why bring him in for the interview?
but I'm saying, is he a pro style coordinator though?
I mean, look at Kansas City's offense.
I
That's
know, but it's not
that's a
really.
that's a spread.
But
It's a
it
spread
is.
offense, which is
But
basically
when
pro style
but
these
when
days.
people say that he doesn't call the plays, like does he not call any of the plays at all, or some of the plays he does?
When I watch Kansas City, Andy Reid has the play sheet, I believe.
Then what's the
I,
point of him having a headset? Eric Henry then.
he listens in on it. He can have input, but like
See,
he could say in the headset like, "I'm seeing this. Maybe we should run this," and then Andy Reid would look at the play sheet and be like,
so he will like
"All right,
get
we could
the.
run that, but I want to run this or something like that." So you could maybe say it as he was an offensive coordinator assistant, if you want to look at it that way. That's what I'm saying. I feel like the whole Andy Reid aspect plays into this, but a lot of people just want to be like, "Oh, black, 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 black." Yes, that's part of it too, but
No.
the way that Andy Reid is regarded around the NFL, I feel like that's why we're seeing Bieniemy now looking at offers outside of the organization because maybe people around him have told him like, "Look, this is what we're hearing from teams. So you're probably gonna have to leave Kansas City if you seriously want to be a head coaching candidate. And maybe that's
Right.
all it is. I don't know, but yeah, because I'm
It,
thinking about the Super Bowl. I feel like Andy Reid had the play sheet because I remember I think Godfrey made a joke about Andy Reid opening up the menu and calling the plays. So I feel like he was doing that. And whereas the enemy, if he has a play sheet, he's not calling plays off of it. He might be looking at it to see what play Reid's calling. I don't know.
what do you know any other teams that do that, or is
Yeah.
that the only team that does it?
There's other teams that do it. Um,
Let
Sean
me
Payton
think.
probably. Well, Sean Payton might call plays in Denver no matter who the offensive coordinator is.
Probably Bill
Sean
O'Brien did it when he was in the Texas.
McVay calls plays for the Rams.
Didn't Bill O'Brien call the plays when he was in the Texans? Because
Yep.
he was GM and head coach.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's hard. That's a lot of responsibilities for one man, to be a GM and a head coach.
That's why not a lot of guys do it. He tried it because he was under Belichick who did it. So I think he felt like he could
Oh,
do it.
yeah. Wait, is Bill Belichick, is he his own GM,
GM and head coach.
GM
Yeah.
and head coach? Well,
Hmm. So a lot of the bigger name guys wanted that. O'Brien probably got it
so
because the Texans front office were a lot of New England guys, so they saw how it worked with Belichick, and they gave him the opportunity to do it, and that's where Bill O'Brien kind of gets clowned for the whole Hopkins for David Johnson deal. Even though Bill O'Brien, the coach in Houston, was really good, it's just that one move kind of killed everything for him.
yeah. So maybe you might not know this, but like, I mean, you with you being a Patriots fan and Bill Belichick being the coach and the GM, like, what freedoms does that have, or what keys does that unlock with, like, free agency, and like, because usually for me it would be Harbaugh and then as a coach, and then Eric DaCosta and Steve Biscotti as the owner, whereas in the offseason you just have, I'm assuming it's just Robert Kraft and Belichick doing and depending on the agent, whatever, it's just him. So how is do you okay? So now, all right. Let me ask you: do you think if, let's say, Harbaugh, right, was the GM or head coach and GM, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that Lamar were gonna do it then, or was it just him? And then say,
Even if he's the GM, the owner still has to sign off on it. So
so I guess the owner
as
would be, I guess, Biscotti, I guess.
yeah, so if Harbaugh the GM said, "Look, Lamar wants 250 million. I think we should give it to him." If the owner's like, "I'm not giving him 250 million," go back and get another number. See if he'll take 150. Harbaugh could try that, and then if Lamar says no, you're kind of stuck unless the owner changes his mind. So it's, I mean, for a lot of cases, this kind of goes back to Bill Parcells because he was a coach, wasn't the GM. He'd get questions about how come this player's not doing this, this, and this, and he had the famous line of, "They don't let me buy the groceries."
Oh yeah,
So that turned the tide where once coaches had some power, they started getting the GM title as well. That way, if they wanted a certain guy, they could go get that guy and not have to like convince a GM to get a guy to fit their system. Some coaches can't get that because they can't prove that they're good enough as a coach to be a GM as well. So that's the only really that's the only real aspect to all of it. I mean, it is
yeah.
what it is. Like if you have a good GM and a good coach, you'll still make it work even if they're not the same person.
So now, like, with the big quarterback is, well, I would say it's Lamar, and then now Derek Carr, where he's gonna go, Aaron Rodgers. But I'm saying
I
as
think
far as
Aaron Rodgers is the biggest because for whatever reason, people are still enamored with him. If it was me, to
have
be
you
honest with
do you see that
I
weird interview he had with, well, not what
I
wasn't weird, but the
no,
whole
it
like
was odd. That's
eh.
that's that's all Aaron Rodgers is at this point. It's nothing but drama and odd interviews. That's it. But he's not good, right? like 4 days. I'm like, what are you talking about? You just gonna go like sit in a cave or something? Like what?
Like,
He's so
what?
weird.
What do you say? He was like, "Oh, I meditate. I don't eat for
Like,
like you know how
okay,
Jesus didn't eat like for 40 days and 40 nights or something like
yeah,
that. Like it's like something like that. It's like, bruh,
he's an odd guy, man. I mean,
you
I'm
take
all
shrimp.
for players being
Do you
like
think
characters,
that?
but he's out there.
So like, I think it was true that he took shrooms, right, or some kind
Yeah,
of
some
drug.
shroom, some
Do you
ayahuasca
think?
thing or
Do
whatever.
you think that? I mean, I don't want to make it a black or white thing, but do you think if like Lamar or like Deshaun Watson said that, do you think people have a different perspective on
If they
that
said what that they were.
if they taking shrooms and stuff?
No, I think for today, nobody really cares. Back in the day, yeah, it would probably would have been a bigger deal. But now, this day and age of like marijuana becoming more
But shrooms,
acceptable, stuff
but
like
shrooms
that.
is not shrooms is not marijuana though.
I know that's. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like it's more acceptable now to understand if people take certain things for certain issues. Like, if he
Mm.
takes it because of anxiety or something, in today's age, it's more of people would hear that and be like, "Oh, I can sympathize with that." Whereas before, it'd be like, "Man, you soft" or something like that, and then it'd become a whole story. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. I mean, hey, Deshaun Watson came through all that he went through, and all it got him was a big contract in Cleveland.
Yeah. So as far as like the Ravens organization, like we see Burrows is probably next to get that contract.
Mm-hmm.
Hurts is probably next in line. I mean, I believe it's crucial for the Ravens to, as soon as possible, like get the deal done because if Burrows gets his contract, Hurts get his contract. I mean, Watson has 230, so that's the bar right now. Imagine if like Burrows, Hurts
Mm-hmm.
gets that contract before Lamar. That's gonna go through the roof as
There's
far
a
as like.
big difference. Burrow and Hurts have been to a Super Bowl. Lamar hasn't. Lamar has one playoff win.
But I'm saying as far as like franchise.
That has to factor into it. You're going to give money to a guy one playoff win.
Well, I'm just saying as far
And,
as like
but
money
also,
going up as far as the
Burrow's going
cap
to get
goes.
his money, but it looks like T. Higgins might have to go this offseason. So
So
that's
they
where a
might
lot of
they
these
might
teams
have to
have to.
sacrifice.
Yeah, so teams have to think about that. So if Harbaugh and them look at it as if we give Lamar this, maybe we lose. I don't know. J.K.
Pro
Dobbins.
like crochet or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying
Yeah.
let's say maybe we lose J.K. Dobbins down the line.
Right.
I mean, to Ravens fans, they might be like, okay, J.K. Dobbins, we can find another guy. But then what if it turns into J.K. Dobbins, uh, Kyle Hamilton?
Well, Kyle, well, he's on a rookie deal though, so
I was just saying, but
I guess down
what
the
I'm saying
line,
down the
yeah.
line, yeah. So let's say it turns into Dobbins, Hamilton,
No, I don't think
Marcus
Mark Andrews.
Peters, and maybe Mark Andrews becomes a little bit more difficult to sign. How would Ravens fans feel about that?
Is is Jamar Chase still on that rookie deal? Because I would say Jamar
Yes.
Chase is in
But
factor with that
luckily
too.
for Jamar Chase, some people think in 2 years the cap could be 300 million
As far as just like
salary
for
cap. So
for
if it
teams,
goes, yeah, so if it goes up that much, then it's just more room you can build in. Like I'm saying with T Higgins though, I think the cap goes up to
what's the
240
what's the
next year.
cap space for this year? What's the cap like the cap?
I think a lot of people think. Well, so let me see. I
It's
feel
like
like
two hundred
I
forty
think it's like
five million or something.
260 next season. I think something it could go to 280 the following season and then 300 the season after that. Because if you look at it, the teams with the most cap space right now are, let's see, the Bears have like
The
90
Bears
something
have
million, and then it drops off to 50 something for the Falcons and then 40 something for Texans and stuff like that. So even with the cap space not going up as much, some of these teams might be having to make difficult decisions because of cap space, guys they have to re-sign. It could just be timing for Lamar. Maybe that's the part that's making it so difficult. They're trying to figure out, can they restructure some guys' contracts? That way, lessen the cap hit. If you bring in Lamar, now you have more room to work with on top of Lamar to try to bring in a wide receiver, bring in whatever. Maybe that's what this whole process and why it's delayed. Maybe they're approaching guys to see if they can restructure some guys first, which I guess would be
That
the
could
smart way to go about it.
that could be a thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I've seen so interesting because like you don't know what pieces are moving. I didn't think about the Higgins because I mean, so like for like with Mahomes, right? He's on the 10-year like
Mm-hmm.
$500 contract. Like, how do they? I mean, obviously it's good to lock up your QB for like the long term, but like, how do they have money to keep like Kelsey and like?
Because I think what they did was they probably put a lot of it into a signing bonus. Then your cap hit is just the remaining money over the 10 years. I think the NFL cap is weird like that. I mean, there's websites dedicated to it, but I feel like that's what a lot of teams will do with the quarterback. They'll front load it. That way, on the back end, when other guys come up, that quarterback's cap hit isn't as big. So there's more room to fit in these other guys. But you could say the Mahomes contract, the casualty might have been Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill got moved. Now, luckily for Kansas City, Mahomes is so good that he could withstand the loss of Tyreek Hill, whereas other teams, like take Miami. Miami has Tyreek Hill now. They'll have to make a decision soon on Jalen Waddle. I mean, I think it's still a few years down the line, but let's say it comes into a situation where Tyreek Hill's making all this money. Now they got to pay Jalen Waddle all this money. If Tua needs a new deal, how much do they give Tua? They have Raheem Mostert. They have all these guys. Miami could be in a situation where if they don't win in the next couple of years, they might have to make some tough decisions as well. So all these teams run through this. It's just for Baltimore, it's kind of happening right now.
Yeah. That's what I want to say. Oh, so I looked up the 2023 this year's salary cap for NFL.
Mm-hmm.
NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero reported
Mm-hmm.
that the league informed teams Monday that this article came out the 30th of January, so before the 31st of January. So NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero reported that the league informed teams Monday that the 2023 salary cap will be a record 224.8 million per club, according to sources informed of the situation. It's a $16.6 million leap for each club from 208.2 million in 2023. So, I mean, I'm
I
pretty
think their
sure.
TV deal's up in a couple of years, so that's why they think because they know the TV deal is going to go up because of the NFL, so they feel like the salary cap is going to jump even more. And you'll see even some teams that have cap space this year, they won't spend it all because they'll just roll over next year where it
So
gets bigger.
they'll probably have like 500 something million.
Well, I mean,
Like
if you
if
look at
people don't spend anything, because
Mhm.
206 something point something plus 300
yeah,
million, it's like 500 something million.
yeah, because even with 224, the Bears have 95 million in cap space.
So that's not even anything.
They could sign almost a new team with that because all their issues that they
Well,
have.
yeah.
Because draft picks only cost like I don't know
So
10 million or something.
I guess where I'm confused at is like the cap they said 224, right? Is that
Mm-hmm.
per what per team has
Yep.
or going into the all season? Because like you said, they had Bears had 98 something million, but they don't have 224 million like everyone else does.
So you could basically say that the Bears in in contracts that are on the books for next season, they have 130 something. So they have $95 million that they could spend to get up to the 24 and a half. Now, whether or not they spend it all this season, it's up to them because we all know they need wide receivers, they need tight ends, they need offensive line, they need linebackers, they need almost everything. So it's going to be depending upon them on how much of that they do through the draft because you'll be able to fill those positions much cheaper in the draft than in free agency. Do they do any trades? That way you're kind of just swapping money amongst teams without really diving into that cap space. Because they may look at this and say, next year there's some really big names coming out. If we roll money into next year where the cap goes up, we could have even more space next year and really make a splash. Whereas this year, we'll draft a wide receiver, we'll draft an offensive lineman, we'll draft a linebacker, and see what happens. Yeah, Bears fans may go through another year of them being bad, but the year after that, they could be like, "Trust me, we have a plan in place." So, I mean, the NFL you can kind of do this several ways. So Baltimore, I don't know what their cap space is.
I have it right now.
Okay.
So according based off of the Ian's and Tom's projected for 2023, with the salary cap set, the Baltimore Ravens reside with 26.87 million in cap space, according to eighth most in NFL. However, that's far from the full story, seeing that as a starting quarterback the past
Mm-hmm.
4 years, Lamar Jackson. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm confused at, because like when people, so when this report came out with 26.87 million, I guess that's including Lamar's, I guess contract. I guess. I mean, is that why
No,
that's that low, or
that's
that's
not including Lamar's contract. So Lamar's contract would eat into that. So that's why I'm like the Harbaugh, Biscotti, and all those guys have to figure out
so when people
how much of
so
that cap space can they eat into if they want to improve the team here, 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 and here. That's why I'm like, if they restructure people, 26.8 could turn into 35 million in cap space. So then now, if you work Lamar's contract into that, now you have more money on top of that to go sign people you might be targeting
right.
instead of Lamar eating completely into that.
Right. But as far as like I'm confused, it's like I guess where I'm confused at with salary cap is like, say like people want to sign for like a 5 year, 100 million, no, 230, say 230 million,
Mm-hmm.
50 million guaranteed. Like, how do they have enough to do that when they have 26 point? I guess that's with, because
So
even
okay, I get
even
you.
you say 35 million, that's not enough. Just I mean, we had like
So with
that's
that,
not enough.
guaranteed money doesn't count on the cap. That's basically
Oh,
money coming out of the owner's pocket.
so that's basically the owner's money coming going into
You could,
Lamar's
yeah,
pocket.
basically look at it that way. Yeah, yeah. So the money that would count on the cap in that case would be if it was 5 years, 250, but 150 was guaranteed. The cap hit would be basically the 100 million over the 5 years, and then even that number could be messed around with because you could structure it where maybe they get a little bit more of the money the first couple of years, and then it drops off the last 3 years to get to the
So
100
they
million.
don't. So they don't gotta. So they don't gotta pay that 100 something, 250, like right off the bat. It's over the 5 years
Right.
or however
Minus
long.
whatever the guarantee, because the guarantee money is
That's
they
where
get that
that's what the
money
problem is.
as
Yeah.
soon as they sign it.
So that's why it's probably hold on, because like if like you say it's coming out of the owner's money, it's like it, it's like that's why maybe I see traction in that, because it's where like, but like you and Gene and Cool has I say like, I mean, yeah, I want Lamar to get signed, but like as far as staying healthy, like if I'm like Steve Biscotti, I'm like, hey, I'm giving this man 50 million guaranteed, 200 or whatever
Hmm.
out of my pocket. That's like trying to figure out an example off the top of my head. Giving you that's like me giving you money, right? Out of my pocket.
Hmm.
What kind of? I'm trying to figure out an example, like a good example of like that. because I was getting somewhere with that. I just don't.
No,
But it's like, yeah,
all right. So I googled it real quick, like how NFL contracts work, and I guess we
okay,
could see if this will probably make more sense.
yeah,
Maybe I'm explaining it because I mean I'm not like a cap guru or anything like that. But so the way it breaks down is base salary. Like that's basically for you being on the team. You know, players are given their base salary in 17 like paychecks over the course of a 16 game schedule. This is an older article, so look at it as 18 payments over a 17 game schedule.
okay,
The base salary is the the money that they would get, like if you cut them or anything like that. That's the guaranteed part. So if it's 5 years, 250, 150 is guaranteed. That's like the money that the team has to give the player. The other 100, he may never actually see that because if they cut him, they could cut that money off and save that. Then,
or that's the injury too, right? Injury if he gets injured,
yeah,
that's where like, the
because they
security
can work that
blanket,
into the contract. Like
the security blanket,
you've been
yeah.
hurt this much, the injury's this serious. We're gonna cut you, and then that extra money that you didn't get guaranteed, you would never see from that team. Um, uh, skill guarantee. All right, so cap guarantee protects the player from being released so the team can get under the cap. That's basically like the guaranteed money almost. So that I mean, okay, so signing bonus was the other part. It's the upfront money that the player gets once they sign that dotted line. The team can't take that away from them. They get that right off the bat. So I think like with rookies, it used to be, I think it used to be like tier. Like if you were a number one pick, you know you could get whatever, but you were guaranteed like 60 million in a signing bonus.
Yeah, like
And
no
that's
wonder
why they
people are.
changed that system
That's why people are
because
getting like houses off the bat and like cars and Rolls Royces off
right,
the bat.
but they changed that
Yeah, you
because
like you said
they
60.
were sick of seeing number one picks, usually
You said 60
quarterbacks,
million, like it's like
stay
oh,
and get all that money. Yeah,
like you said 60 million, like it was like freaking like I was like man, like it's like $1. 60 million is like a whole house, bro. Like
yeah. But teams were kind of worried about
so now what they
throwing that
do?
kind of money in a guy's hand just because they signed a rookie contract. We've never seen them play, but they're already getting this much money. So now they've changed it where it's scaled back or whatever from whatever. But like there's a lot of aspects to it, roster bonus and all that, but basically guaranteed money is so important to the players because that's what they know that they're going to get.
So I don't think with Lamar, I don't think it's the contract itself, like whatever that money is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just the attraction is the guaranteed how much the owners are willing to pay Lamar out of their pocket. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. I think so. Now I see the bigger picture. Now, I mean, me as a fan, I do want to see him sign with the Ravens. That's just my home side, my homer side. But now I'm seeing where the hesitation is. Like, so like if Biscotti or whoever the owner is, I mean, obviously, I think Biscotti he likes Lamar, but if an owner really not say cared because I think he does care for Lamar, but if an
Mm-hmm.
owner like really wanted to sign him off the bat, no hesitation, he would have done it already.
Mm-hmm.
But now since I know it's kind of out of their pocket or the team's pocket, it's like wow, like now I see like the whole. Maybe like you said, maybe they're waiting on the cutting players, see if they can add more to that cap space, cut like cap casualties. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with that too, see if people are going to retire. Like I don't see anybody. Well, Calais Campbell is going to retire, but he's coming back. But as far as people retiring or wanting to be released,
Right.
so yeah, I mean that's another thing that teams are waiting on. For I guess for buyout for buyout. No, it's not a buyout. It's more like so players are going to like hit their free agency market. So now I have a better picture of like why there's a hole on that end because I heard the contract is set. I think I'm not sure what number it's at or whatever. It's just a guaranteed part because like So okay, let's break down Watson's right. He got here we go again.
Okay.
Are we all good?
Yeah.
Then we got to chat. Oh no, never
Yeah. Still says live and recording. So yeah, we're good.
mind. Okay. Uh, like I was saying, so let's break down like Watson's contract because he has his contract
Well,
is
he got fully guaranteed, I think, right?
yeah, he got 230,
Yeah.
and then
Which
he got
which is also why a lot of people around the league were kind of upset by that, by Cleveland doing that, because they
and
don't like the
that's another thing that
precedent
messed up
of.
his contract, Lamar's contract, because like
Well, they don't like the
they're
precedent that Watson got into trouble off the field, was away from the game for a while, and then the minute he's available, you just threw a bunch of money at him, which throws off, like you said, Lamar, because Lamar could look at it and be like, I don't get in trouble off the field.
I mean I got an MVP
I've
to my name.
played more games than Watson the past couple of years. Why can't I get so and so? Where Baltimore would be like, yeah, but we don't want to make the same mistake Cleveland potentially could have by giving money to a guy, even though there's questions about him. But they're just going off the fact that we've had Baker Mayfield, we got sick of Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson was available, so we paid him. All right, I mean, good luck with that. If it works for you, it works for you. But not every team wants to sit there and have guys who, you know, don't deserve it, but they look at Deshaun Watson and go, "Well, I could. Why can't I get that?" That's where a lot of these owners are probably upset with Cleveland. Russell Wilson, you could say a little bit as well, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wilson was a Super Bowl quarterback, so I guess you can kind of understand that in that aspect. But a lot of eyes are going to be on him as well for next year because this past year was rough. I
Yeah.
mean, he looked like he didn't belong in the league a lot of games. But I mean, they kind of put that on the coach, so we'll see if Sean Payton if it looks any different. But the Deshaun Watson one for sure is one that a lot of these quarterbacks are looking at like, if he could get that, why can't I? And that definitely plays into Lamar. I have to believe that.
No, definitely. I mean, that's. I feel like they were gonna get the deal done, and then that news came out, and boom, it's like I think that messed up every quarterback that's gonna get that gonna get a next contract because, like you said, like a guy's been out of the league for what a year and a half, almost two
With an
years.
off-field issue, which once we learned more about that issue was, I guess, even worse the more you heard about it, I guess. But yeah, it's going to throw off Lamar. Jalen Hurts is probably going to throw off his numbers because Hurts is going to look at it like, I went to a Super Bowl, we lost by a field goal, wasn't my fault, so I should get, if Watson got 250, I'm worth 350.
Oh wait, he
Philadelphia
got
might
two
be like,
fifty or 230.
well, okay, so 230, but
Oh, oh, still,
Hurts might be
still.
like, I deserve 350. Philly
Oh
might look at that
man,
and be like, oh my god, 350
oh
for a
man.
quarterback. Ugh. So I don't know, man. I don't know where we're headed.
So
Some
just
people,
that, it's like we say like 250, 230. That money's coming from. It's like say
so
like
fully guaranteed, if they cut him tomorrow, they have to pay him that money. Now, if they could work out an agreement with the player and be like, look, we'll give it to you instead of over 5 years, spread it out over 10. I don't even know if that's something they could do, but sure. Or Watson would be like, yeah, just give me my money and we'll be done here. So that's where the guaranteed money comes into play because, like I said, if Watson blows out both of his knees and Cleveland's like, well, I wish we could sign somebody else of Watson's caliber, but we're already paying Watson this money to sit at home recuperating. We better hope we draft a guy who's cheap and could kind of do the same position. So that's where a lot of the chess pieces are in terms of team building. And you're doing it over, was it 53 on an active roster, plus practice squad guys? Like, it's a whole process. I think it's like 75 or so players once you get down to everybody involved.
With the 75, and they have to like cut down like 53 by like the start of the season, I think.
Yeah,
So
53 is on the active roster. So, the back end guys, you're not really worried about them
do
because
like
they'll
practice
make like
squad or
750,000, a million here or there. But it's whether or not you pay a bunch of guys at the top and really suffer
and now look
depth wise
at
down the line. That's
another.
where
I mean,
it
another prime example of it in the league is Purdy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like
well, that's where his value is. You're not paying him a lot.
that's
He's a
one.
seventh
Yeah,
round pick.
yeah, but that's your point. It's like a player was maybe on a practice squad, maybe fourth string quarterback, wasn't even thought about starting.
Hmm.
Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, he was like, oh, well, I got my team to the NFC Championship game or whatever. Like, I should
Yeah.
get big money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
But luckily, San Francisco still has like 4 years to worry about that.
oh, yeah, he's still a rookie. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have 4 years until he could even sit there and really be like, so how much you want to give me?
But I mean, as far as like his those 4 year time frame, he can definitely like improve and like
Hmm.
improve his stock. So that's I think that Shanahan and they have to worry about too. But yeah, I mean, this is very interesting. I want now I know like as you get deeper to the off season and stuff, and you know what I'm saying, we learn about these contracts and stuff. Like it's gonna be really interesting to see like what these teams do. Like as far as the Bengals keeping Higgins or not, or Boyd. I don't know what Boyd's contract is.
I
I'm
think
not
I
sure.
think Boyd's good, but Higgins is the one that's really the question mark whether or not he could stay or not. I
And
think
then what
he's
about Joe?
gone. To be honest with you,
What about Mixon? You think is he under contract too?
Mixon. Well, I think Mixon is a free agent, but running backs, because of how
The
little
market.
value the position has, you don't really worry about that.
I mean, I think that they should have not as much value as a quarterback. I think
You know
they
what
should be
ruined
up there.
that? Ezekiel Elliott ruined that because he got big money and he's been awful. Tony Pollard makes a fraction of the money and is way more productive than him.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, teams aren't gonna spend a lot of money for running backs unless you're Jerry Jones, especially a running back like Ezekiel Elliott. Unless you're Derrick Henry and running for 2,000 yards, and even the Derrick Henry part, Derrick Henry's not going to get another big contract. That big contract he got, that's it for him because he's carried the ball so much that his next contract might be year by year just to see if he still has anything left in the tank. Yeah, so running backs, yeah, you're not spending big money anymore with them. It's all about quarterbacks, wide receivers, tackles. You got to spend money on tackles because that's literally protecting your quarterback.
True. True. All right. So let's dive into let's go into the NBA now. Well, actually, before we do that, let's go to talk MLB real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really much to talk about because NBA is going to be the last thing we're talking about to end the show. So I know I had MLB to the on the last thing, but catchers and pitchers report to spring training. So that means that the MLB season, no pun intended, is in full swing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like more content with that. I know big news. Well, bad news for us, the Yankees. Frank Montez is supposed to be been recovered. From an injury. Aaron Boone said that I think he has to have like a shoulder surgery. So his timetable or his feeling of return is well, his space of return is probably season-ending surgery. So,
Yeah.
but his cap to come back is like fall ball October, basically half the season. But that was a big signing for us, like last season. We got him from the Athletics. Other than that, there really hasn't been other big news. I know. I mean, I know I saw a post that said Gleyber Torres. I think he's on his last year of his contract. The Yankees really haven't been talking to him, but I think they. I mean, he's still a young, second baseman, but he hasn't really been having, or no one's in the front office has talked to him about a contract extension. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be probably moving Anthony Volpe up there from AAA, a star-studded, ball player, and Triple A. Other than that, I mean, as far as you're in Boston, I was gonna say the Boston Celtics, Boston Red Sox. Any news that you're in about spring training? Really,
I
not really.
mean, when it comes to spring training, the pitching staff is being looked at because there's about six guys that could be in the, well, actually seven guys that could be in the starting rotation. It's just a matter of which five do you go with.
Mm.
Chris Sale has been injured like the past 3 years. He supposedly put on some weight, but I think he weighs like 180 right now. But he's still like a stick because he's like 6'5", so 6'5", 185. But then again, there's only so much you can add to his frame because I think a lot of people look at his body type as why he gets hurt so much. There's only so much you can do. Um, Whitlock, they're basically turning from closer, middle reliever into a starter, so people are wondering what that's going to look like full time. Tanner Houck, the same thing. They're trying to rely on Paxton, who's been hurt the past couple of years. Can he stay healthy? Yeah, well, I mean, we'll just see. I honestly think the Red Sox might go to a six-man rotation just to protect some of the guys who will be in the pitching rotation. The bullpen's improved. They got Kenley Jansen, Jolie Rodriguez, Chris Martin. So the bullpen was awful last year. At least that's going to look better. The lineup with no Trevor Story, although he says he'll be back some point this year. Because I think a lot of people thought he might miss the year. He's like, nah, I'll play. So I don't know if that's going to maybe be after the All Star break. But you take him out of the lineup, there's like a lack of power right now that we could depend on. We know Devers will get his, but it's going to be like, where do you hit Devers in the lineup? Because I think Devers likes hitting second, but as a power hitter, you would probably rather see him hit third or cleanup. But if he's comfortable hitting second, he'll probably just hit there. It's filling out the lineup behind him so that teams don't just pitch around him, and then you're really diminishing what he could bring to the team. I mean, I like Trey Turner. I'm not Trey Turner. Justin Turner. I did not know he was 38 years old, to be honest with you. I thought he was a little bit younger than that, but he's literally just going there to be a DH for the most part. But he can fill in at first, he can fill in at third, so I think that's some value there. I like the Adam Duvall signing. It's just which Adam Duvall are we getting? The one from 2020 that helped lead the Braves to a title, or the Adam Duvall from last year that kind of struggled. But he's also one of like those modern hitters where you either get home runs or you get strikeouts. Haven't really seen a guy like that in Boston necessarily the past few years, but I'm excited to see it. They got the dude from Japan. Um, what's his name? Masahito. I can't remember his last name, but he's supposed to be like an on base guy. So I'm excited to see how he plays in Boston. Spring training, I mean, especially around Boston where you have the Celtics, the Bruins, both having the best record in their leagues. Patriots because the NFL is king. Red Sox aren't really being thought about. And for them, if the year is going to be like last year where they struggled, that may work in their favor because they won't necessarily be on the back page or front page with all that. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect from them. You know, I hope they're better than last year. I'd still put them behind the Yankees, the Rays, and the Blue Jays. Can they beat out the Orioles? I guess. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but Aaron Judge. I mean, I know the biggest thing was signing Aaron Judge and the guy Rodon from the Giants. I mean, it's gonna be it's been quiet as far as trades and stuff because the bigger the bigger fish have been on the market now with Aaron Judge, Rodon, like your boy Devers, I guess signed right.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, other than that, it's been kind of quiet on that front of like trades and stuff. So it's like, but As we do, you want to say anything else about MLB before we move on?
No, because there'll be more to say about it the coming weeks once spring training and all that gets going.
All right, so here we have displayed. So for everyone who's tuning in or hasn't tuned in, and I said this in the beginning of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button and hit that post notification so when I go live or post a video or whatever, you'll see it, whatever, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate that. Um, And so now we have the. Can you see the screen? The trade
Yep.
deadline page. All right. So I mean, we gotta get to these trades, man, real quick because it's crazy. So the Suns are traded for Kevin Durant. Well, first before that, Kyrie uh, went to the Mavs. That was the first domino to fall in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
They went to the Mavs and paired with Luka Doncic. And then soon, like a day after that, Kyrie said he wanted to be traded before the trade deadline. So I think that happened before the deadline, I believe, because the deadline happened, I think, the 8th or ninth. So Durant and TJ Warren are going to the Suns, and the Nets are getting Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. Is that true? Jake Crowder is going to the Nets? Or is
Yeah,
he going to
they
be a
got Jay
buyout?
Crowder, and then they flipped Jay Crowder to Milwaukee.
Okay. So I don't think they reported that the flip, but so yeah, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 first round picks and 2020 pick swap. The Raptors acquired Pirtle.
Mhm.
The Spurs will receive Kim Birch, a protected 2024 first round pick, and 2 future second round picks in return. Drafted by Toronto in 2016, Pirtle is averaging 12.1 points per game, 9.1 rebounds this season, and owns a 62.7 career shooting percentage. The Blazers trade Josh Hart to the Knicks for Reddish. I mean, that was kind of not surprising because like Ty and everyone else said that that trade. I mean, Tom Thibodeau didn't really use Reddish to for his talent, so he was a ride the bench. So um,
We also don't know what his talent is because this is now between Atlanta and New York. He couldn't play either place. So what is it? Is it something in practice he doesn't do, or what?
That's true. That's true. So Portland will receive Ken Reddish and in a protected future first round pick in return. Uh, the big kind of trade of the day was the Lakers are finalizing a deal that was saying guard Russell Westbrook to Utah Jazz. So LA receives Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. Minnesota receives Mike Conley, Nickel Alexander Walker, 2024, 2025, and 2026 second round pick via Washington, Minnesota, or Memphis, and then the 25-25 is via Utah, and then the 2026 is Utah too. And then Utah receives also Westbrook, which is going to be in the buyout market. Juan Connell Anderson, Damian Jones, and 2027 first round pick from LA. Um, that's basically it as far as the trades. I know we got players on the buyout market. I know Kevin Love said he wants to. Let's see, so I'll share my screen. Yeah, I know Kevin Love said he wants or he's going to buy out bought out from Cleveland. So I think
That's interesting to me because
explain, explain.
I tried to figure out why they didn't do that before. They basically waited until they became good again, and then now they're buying them out. I never thought he was gonna last this long. Like I thought once LeBron left, they were going to do like a hard reset, and Kevin Love was going to be moved. Now, well, I mean, it's easier now because it's the last year of his deal, but he'll definitely catch on somewhere. A contender will definitely sign Kevin Love. I don't know who it will be.
Where do
I
you
mean, I can
see
see.
where do you see him going? Like, where do you see him landing?
Um,
Do you see him staying in the East, or do you think he goes out West?
I'd have to see who has a roster spot. Like I know the Celtics have a roster spot. I don't know if Kevin Love would go there because I don't know how many minutes they could necessarily guarantee him, and if he'd want to. Well, I mean, maybe Boston, but maybe like a Denver. Denver could use a little more size in that offense, playing off of Jokic and guys like that. Kevin Love could be really good out there.
I'm not sure if we have a roster spot. But I was saying Lakers, but I don't know if they have a roster spot. I think Mobama filled that last roster
I
spot.
said contenders,
I
not
mean, but
13th in the West. And plus, if he went to LA, how many minutes would he get? Because he'd be in the rotation with Vanderbilt, Bamba, AD. Uh, could throw maybe LeBron.
I think he could run with that second team with Malik Beasley and Bamba at the center. But then Vanderbilt's there too, so it's like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if I see
I mean
the
that
Lakers
gives them
necessarily.
another shooting big off the bench.
Yeah, like I
but
said, but how much would you play him? Because
I mean, do you see him as
he could be a small ball five, but a lot of that would probably go to Bamba anyway. He could play traditional four. You're kind of using Vanderbilt for that, and then
although I mean
some lineups
Rory,
AD's the four.
I forgot
Yeah,
Rory too.
Hachimura as well.
I forgot
So
about
I don't
Rory
know
too.
if Kevin Love necessarily fit with the Lakers, unless you're going to cut
Maybe.
like Bamba's minutes. Then would you trade for him? Well, I mean, you traded for him to get rid of who was that trade? Was that the Pat Beverly one?
Yeah.
That you got Bamba, yeah. That trade was to get rid of Pat Beverly because Mo Bamba had a lot of hype behind him. Didn't really see a lot of it in Orlando. A lot of that's because Orlando, like three-quarters of their team, is young, and he kind of just fell by the wayside. Especially you have like Bol and guys like that there. Bol and Bamba are literally the same player. You have Jonathan Isaac, like all basically the same player. So it's not like an indictment on Bamba necessarily. But I think Bamba just needs a defined role with defined minutes to actually see how good he is. If you bring Kevin Love, you might be hurting him. And Hachimura too, because
True.
Hachimura is a similar four man who can shoot from the outside.
True. Yeah, I didn't think about Rory like he's on the team now, so it's like
I mean, because
maybe there's no space for
they
him.
brought in so many people that the Hachimura deal seems like it was 3 months ago.
True. That's true. But yeah, I'm interested to see where he lands. Like on your end, does it allow you to share your screen?
I think I can.
Do
Yeah,
you think you
I
can
can.
pull up like the All Star or like actually first the because on my end's kind of laggy on my end when I pull up the websites. First I wanted to talk about like the buyout players, and then we can get into like the All Star festivities and like the.
I
Well,
don't know.
I think I looked up. I'm gonna Google. I looked up buyout market NBA players. And then they showed me like a list of players. Like
All right,
I
let me
tried to
see.
pull it up, but it's like laggy on my end with
I
like the
got you.
websites.
So I see. All right, so like hoops, was it hoops
Yeah,
hype?
I think that's the one I looked at. If
Yeah, sometimes sharing some of these websites is a little bit tricky, but let's see.
yeah, I think Hoops was the one I looked up that came up.
So I'm sharing it. You might have to
I
change the
might have to
view
put
here.
up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is the website I saw too. So we got Pat Bev on the market, Serge Ibaka, Justin Jefferson, or Justin, or I'm sorry, Justin Justin Jackson, Stanley Johnson, and John Wall. I don't even.
The
I
wall
don't even.
situation is just hilarious to me, to be honest with you.
It could like was he talking shit on Houston like on a podcast?
Yeah, and then he found himself back there.
He's in Houston right now. He's on the team.
Yeah, that's what the Clippers traded him back to Houston. That's why Houston's definitely gonna buy him out.
Hey man, when it like when the shit hits the fan.
I mean, hey, that's why you gotta be careful, man. Can't be burning them bridges. You don't know where you'll end up.
All right, if you want to go down, I think there's some more players.
Yeah,
Um,
there's another group of these
oh,
guys.
Dwayne, I think Dwayne Dedman got picked up. I believe.
Yeah, this is showing the guys who got
Oh,
bought
so
out and
he,
they signed.
so he signed. So Dwayne Dedman signed with the Sixers, made by the Spurs. I thought Dedman was on the Heat.
Deadman,
Yeah, I thought he was on the Miami Heat
he was on
bench.
the Heat. They traded him to the Spurs. The Spurs bought him out.
Oh
He
my
signed with
gosh,
the Sixers. Yeah, the
Reggie.
Spurs aren't going to use him.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson. Bought out
Yeah.
by the Hornets, signed with the Nuggets. Well, was on the Clippers.
Hmm.
Denny Green, guard, bought out by the Rockets. I'm not. I think he was a free agent. I think, or I thought he was hurt.
Yeah,
Um,
he's still hurt, but I think the Cavs signed him hoping he could actually come back at some point this year.
Terrence Ross, guard forward, bought out by the Magic, signed with the Suns. Justin Holiday to the uh, way by the Rockets, signed with the Mavericks. A few other ones, other veterans who are candidates to be bought out are Will Barton, Frank Kaminsky, Alex Lynn, Kevin Love, like we said, Nerlens Noel, Derrick Rose, and Russell Westbrook. I think that's the last ones that are on the buyout.
Barton is the name that's
Barton,
gonna be
he's pretty
he's
good.
gonna be coveted by a lot of teams.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Kaminsky, Len, those guys. Kevin Love will get some looks as well. Nerlens Noel is a guy I really like. Noel coming out of college. It's always been an injury thing with him. Derrick Rose, that's probably more out of respect from the Knicks to maybe give him a chance to like latch on with a team to maybe make a run at a title. I feel like that's where that's coming from. And then Westbrook, we know because Utah is going through a youth movement and they don't really need Westbrook at this point. I do wonder how Knicks fans would feel about Derrick Rose because I feel like he's a fan favorite there. I think they do kind of understand the situation with him.
yeah, true, true. Um, I heard he might go to the like Milwaukee. That's just a rumor. Uh,
Oh yeah, because Milwaukee behind Drew Holiday, who's necessarily your backup point guard?
well, Grayson Allen is he on the bench or he a starter?
He's a bench guy, but Grayson Allen's more of a two guard to me. I don't really see him as a point.
True, true. Yeah. So we are nearing 10 minutes. So I guess we can end with like the like the the All Star festivities. Do they have the
Participants and all that.
or like do they have like the celebrity All Star game? We can go into that like just for fun, like the celebrity All. I know 21 Savage is in there. Uh, I think Quavo has to be in there for like
I
the
know,
celebrity.
I know, like Janelle Monae, because I saw the TikTok of her working on her jump shot.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm
and
surprised Drake's not in that. He can ball, man.
the times I've seen him, he can't ball. I don't know. He's probably maybe
I mean,
he's
he has his own court.
big
Oh,
for
I
it.
guess I don't mean nothing. No.
Yeah, trash dudes with money got their own court.
Wait, you say Drake is trash?
I'll just say, just because he has money.
Yo, Kai, if you just call Drake
I'm talking
trash,
about there's guys who can't play ball would have a court because they just like basketball.
I'm about to say, if you call Drake trash on my podcast, I gotta, yeah, there's a door, bro. So when are is everything Saturday? Like for like the All
No,
Star?
celebrity game Friday.
Oh, it's Friday. Then the All Star like 3-point contest is Saturday, right?
That's on Saturday. Then the game is
It's on
Sunday.
Sunday. All right, I'm not sure if they have. Okay, so Ruffles. Oh, celebrity game. Yeah. So okay, so
DK Metcalf is in it. I know that.
I know last year wasn't
And
like
Calvin
Miles
Johnson.
Garrett in there last year too. Well, that was last year, Miles Garrett.
Yeah, they always have like two NFL
See,
players.
see that was. I mean, I guess it works because like mine is laggy too sometimes.
Oh, here we
So
go.
21
We got
Savage. So Team Ryan.
mm-hmm.
Ryan's. I don't know who Ryan is. Ryan Smith.
Good right
Oh, he's the
there.
governor.
Jazz
Oh,
governor. Yep.
Kane Brown. Corday. Wow. Diamond. Calvin Johnson's playing. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Meon. The Miz. Wow. Albert Pujols is playing. Get the hell out of here. Please, old bald head. Old bald head ass.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
Everett
he's a name.
Osborne. Ozuna. Gomero Rodriguez. All right, that's Team Ryan. So Team it says
And then
Dwayne what?
this dude here.
No, Dwayne Wade. Oh, okay.
Well, I'm saying this Cinqua Walls guy is the one from the reboot of White Men Can't Jump.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's I think he played in Power. Uh, that
I think
show.
so. Yeah, I think.
So we got
Although since
team.
he's in it, how is Jack Harlow not in it? If he's in the movie too.
Wait. I thought 21 Savage was on Team Ryan, but maybe I'm tripping.
Now it's like
Dwayne.
Team
Uh,
Wade.
so Team Wade is Dwayne Wade, obviously Nicky Jam, and Jester from content creator Samu Liu, Hassan
That's
Mahia,
Shang-Chi, I believe.
comedian DK Metcalf, Janelle Monae, like you said, RK Echo oh yeah, she
Enrique Agunbawale. Yeah,
Ricky
she's
Agumbawale, 21 Savage, Ranveer Singh, Francis Tiafo. Oh, he's playing. Whoa, I want to see him play basketball. He's a Haitian. He's a Haitian too, I think.
yeah.
Alex Toussaint. Oh, yeah, he's playing in Tucson. Yeah, that's funny because like every time I do the Peloton, he does like the I do his classes, man. That's crazy. All right. Real quick, let's go to I guess the skills challenge. See who's in there, and I guess we'll break down. I guess real quick, just the 3-point contestants and like the just real quick.
All right, skills challenge.
So skills challenge, yeah. I'm like we already know who the roster are for the All Star game, right? So I mean, as far as like the list and shit. For participants, we have.
Hold on,
It's all good. It's all good. Yep.
Yeah. Like these NBA sites, it's like because I think they have like ads in the background that kind of kill the. Oh, here we go. Yeah,
So
so you always
participants
get
team
the Giannis
team
team.
team was in the cup. We have to say Giannis, Antetokounmpo, Giannis, and Alice. It's just the brothers, and they got Team
The Nas
Jazz.
is the highest paid cheerleader in the league.
Who? Giannis?
Yeah, the NASA's
Oh, to Nash.
highest paid cheerleader.
Oh man. So Team Jazz, you got Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, and Colin Sexton. I don't know. I mean, I think that, well, team rookies, Paulo McCarroll, Ivy, and Jabari Smith. Um, I might take Team Jazz because they're all guards, so they had that passing ability. So
Uh,
and it might come up to
well,
Team Jazz and Team Rookies, man. Because last year the Giannis team fell short. Cause I think
hmm
Giannis, I think Alex kind of like was messing up. I think Giannis was the only one that got the ball through the hole and got it done, but those other two brothers couldn't get the job done, so they kind of lost. So I'm gonna go Team Jazz versus Team Rookies in the final.
the only thing with the rookies, Jabari Smith, he has had a rough year. Like Bankero, Ivy, like them. I just wonder if Smith. I mean, it should be a good team there. Team
Yes.
Jazz, Clarkson. I mean, we already know if it comes down to shooting, Clarkson can do that. Kessler, man, I don't know. This is tough. I'd go Team Giannis.
You go Team Giannis.
Yeah.
Like you trust them with shooting.
Hey man, I gotta remember how this competition works. I was gonna say no. I remember they changed it. Does it explain? All right, here we go.
So,
3 round
so
competition.
team
So the first round is a team relay.
all teams compete one at a time. All players from each team should be in time relay. Each player must complete the course. 35-foot outlet pass at a moving target from the baseline. Complete the pass to move on to the next or max three wild attempts or valid attempts. Dribble down court through three moving pylons. Short shot in the lane. Max three valid attempts. Move on after a mistaken three attempts. Left corner 3-point shot. Max three valid attempts. Move on after a maker three attempts.
I forgot there
Dribble.
was this much involved. Okay.
I don't trust that Giannis is in this, man. It's because there's so many different, like, I mean, Giannis, maybe. Giannis. But the other ones, like you said, we got to.
I feel like Alex is a decent shooter. I can't remember a lot about Alex. Yeah, round two's passing. I mean, mm, it'll definitely come down to round three with Giannis and his brothers, the shooting part. Like passing, I think they could get through that. I think this is the part where Scotty Barnes made a fool out of himself. Okay, so after seeing all that they have to go through, yeah, I don't know if I can go with Team Giannis, to be honest with you. I'll go Team Jazz actually. I'll give it to the hometown team. I think you're muted, Jordan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like I'm going either team Jazz or team rookies, just
I'll
because
go
like
back up to
there's
the
all those things. It's like shooting and
like,
left.
use this graphic.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely going either team Jazz or team rookies in the final.
Yeah. I think if they get down to round three and
Giannis
Team
could,
Jazz is close, I could see Team Jazz pulling out in the shooting part.
yeah, Giannis, I mean, maybe Giannis can probably carry them to the second round, maybe. But that's what happened last year. Giannis carried the team, and like they just couldn't get it done. I'm the other two brothers, so it's like,
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
uh,
I mean, the skills challenge, even with the old way that they used to do it, where they had the little obstacle course, it was all like guards at
uh,
first.
yeah,
Then
they
they
had to do
evolved
like the
into guards
layup.
and
Yeah,
big men, and it was always fun seeing big men doing it.
it was funny.
Now this way, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I mean, you know, with them just having like Giannis being a team automatically in it, whatever. Because you could technically use the holidays as well. Got Drew, Justin, and Aaron holiday. If you wanted to, maybe maybe that's a way that they go about it soon, where a team it's either like Team Giannis or Team Holidays that they use, and then Team whatever city they're in, and then Team Rookies instead of it being Team Giannis basically every year.
I see that. I see that.
I mean, who doesn't
Um,
want to see Giannis though? I mean, because Giannis will have fun with it. We
yeah.
all
Oh
know
yeah.
that.
All right. So I guess the last two competitions is
3 point.
the 3 point. I guess yeah, we can go to 3 point first, and then the dunk contest. Maybe we can then we can wrap it up. We're almost at the 2 hour mark. We are at the 2 hour mark, so it's just two more categories. But now, well, I don't think that it's updated, but I
Yeah,
think they. Oh yeah, they did. They put Randall in there. All right, let me see it, man.
this is always
I
the competition for me. I love the 3 point contest.
I'm gonna have to.
This I, Randall seems like an odd choice.
Wait, who did he replace? Oh, he
Anthony
replaced.
Simons, and even that seemed weird that he was in it too.
I'm trying to
I
think
mean,
like Brendan,
Randall shoots a lot of threes. That much I know.
but does he make a lot of threes?
I mean, if I had to guess, he probably shoots around 30, probably shoots mid 30s.
I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna have to go with. Is it came down to the finals? I think in the group chat, I think I'm going Damian Lillard and I'm going Tatum in that final. I would say Buddy Hill too,
There's
because
the,
he's a shooter too. But it's like
I think the finals would be three guys. I think
I thought it was done to two,
is it
or like you could be right.
first round? Yeah, three
Oh,
players
three
can be in the
players.
final round. Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be.
Oh, just leave it on this graphic.
I think it's gonna be Tatum, Dame, and Buddy Hill. That's my final three. And Tatum
So
might not.
how
I
I look
don't.
at this, Dame. See, certain guys are really good, like in-game 3 point shooters, where it's different, where you're standing at a rack, grabbing it, shooting. So I don't know. I don't know how Tatum's going to look at that in that aspect of it, because
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because Tatum's
Tatum
not
also
really
usually does like dribble between his
fadeaways
legs,
and
then
stuff.
pull
Yeah.
up or step backs. Can't really do that in a 3 point contest. So Healed, I have no issue with Healed. I think Kevin Herter could be a sleeper in this one, and Halliburton, because Halliburton
Oh,
basically shoots a set shot anyway. So
I was
this
thinking that
contest will
too.
be
Huh?
easy for him. Actually, that might be my final three. I'll go Halliburton, Healed, and Herter. All H's. Because
I was
Hero's
thinking,
also the same way. Hero likes to shoot off the dribble.
right, right. I mean, what about Lloyd Marketing? Like, he's one of those sleepers too. One of the sleeper
I could
bigs.
see Markkinen getting edged out by one of the three I said. I think Markkinen could come fourth in this one.
Well, you're like, what if Randall just like goes off, yo? It's
I mean,
surprise all.
Randall could shock people and get to the final because
He
Randall is
could,
just
man.
that weird of a guy where he may just get hot, and maybe Buddy Hield will come into this putting a lot of pressure on himself, thinking he should win it. He could struggle in the first round and get knocked out.
But like I said, Tatum is more of like a
Like Tatum can
like,
shoot.
like a
Yeah, he
he can
just shoots
shoot.
off the dribble. Yeah,
Right, right.
but if he gets hot,
Yeah,
watch out.
my final would be because then he can knock down a 3 point shot. I mean, I know he can knock deep 3 pointers too. Uh, I think my view on it is whoever is first and sets the tone is probably gonna win because say if Dame gets half the racks plus half the money balls, but that's like
Money
already
balls are
20,
always the
like
key.
3.4 points I think, or 2 extra points I think. So that's like 20, 20 points off the including the money shot. So like, I mean that goes for anyone who starts out first. Like whoever gets like gets 10, 15 points, it's
Mhm.
not probably gonna win it because that next person in line will probably overcome that 15-point score. Um, so if Tatum, so say if Tatum goes first, right? I don't see him advancing because,
I
like you
agree with
said,
that.
he's
The
not really
organization
a
is important. Yeah.
knockdown shooter, I guess. As far as, but he can knock down a three, but like you say, he's more off ball, like Luka Doncic, like he's that off ball kind of player who creates plays off the dribble. So him standing still in a corner, yeah, corner threes are pretty easy because they're shorter distance from like the other points on the floor.
It
But
also
as far
depends how many of them you shoot, though, because
that's true because then you get
I feel like
tired.
Lillard doesn't shoot a lot of corner threes. A lot of his are on the wing and at the top.
True.
Also, it also depends where you place your money
I mean,
rack.
you can say.
Whenever
I
you get
mean,
that one rack of all money balls that you get to place wherever, that will be interesting to see as
oh,
well.
I think that's the new rule, right? You can place your money ball wherever you want.
Yeah, you get a full
Because
rack of them,
at the
put
end, it
them
used to
wherever you
be
want.
just like the money ball at the end of the rack.
Hmm.
So, and then isn't there like a Mountain Dew thing where it's like the D3 or whatever? Or that's a, I don't know. Maybe I'm.
I think so. Uh,
Uh,
I went too far.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Oh, East Ball, one special white starry ball. Oh, that's a new. Six red special money ball. Rack East spot rack to be placed on the five main. Shooting looking at every ball. The rack is worth two. Oh, okay, every ball's worth 2 points. Um,
Yeah, so deep shot locations between racks 2 and 3,
oh, so they're the
and then
deep shot.
3 and 4. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
it's gonna
fifth
be
rack
interesting.
is your special all money ball rack where you place it wherever you want to put it.
So if you were a shooter, where would you put it at? Would you put it like
So for me, I always
would
like
you put it like in
shooting
the corner where
from.
it's like in between the middle and like the so like top of
I
the
was
key in
never a
the
corner
corners?
three shooter. I hated
No,
that
well I'm
shot.
not saying corner. I'm saying like where like
The wing.
where like the elbow is like the
Hmm.
wing, yeah. The wing corners, yeah.
Yeah, my money rack would be right wing.
All right, stop speaking the soccer terms, man.
No, that's so.
no, I'm
I was just saying,
I'm
like
just messing.
standing
Yeah,
at
I'm just
half
messing with
court,
you.
looking at the hoop, the wing to your right. That's where I would put mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just hope to get through the corner shots because I am hit or miss from there. But out on the wings, I'm good. Up top, I'm pretty good. Where'd you put yours?
I'd probably put mine. I'll probably put mine like at the top of the arc. That's probably the most easiest.
Okay.
If not there, then probably the corners because I'm good at corner threes.
Yeah, I just didn't shoot a lot of corner threes. I
But
shot a lot of mine from the wing.
man, I want to see your shot, man. I mean, like like you see my shot
Hmm.
and Gene shot. Do you have any videos of you shooting hoops?
I mean, I haven't shot hoops in forever. If I ever end up on a court, I will record my jump shot.
All right. All right. Well, we got one more competition, the dunk contest, and we can wrap it up. And then we're over 2 hours. Um, talk about the slam dunk contest. This I'm not really as interested in as a 3 point because like
I don't even care.
so we have
I feel like the
King.
judges are probably more exciting than the participants. I mean, I'm interested to see Kenyon Martin Jr. I will say that.
I know I do want to see Jericho Sims because that dude can get up, man. He's on the Knicks. So we got King Martin Jr., Matt McClung, Trey Murphy the third, and then Jericho Sims. The judges are Jamal Crawford, Lisa Leslie, Cara Malone, Harold Miner, and Dominique Wilkins. I think Dominique Wilkins he's always on the uh,
Yeah.
the panel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, I thought Obi Toppin was in there, but I don't know what Tyler's talking about.
Toppin. Uh,
I thought that's what Ty was like. I don't think I saw him on the list.
yeah, I always remember these four being the ones announced, unless if Obi Toppin was maybe asked to do it and maybe he turned it down. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not really excited. I do want to see the dude Jericho to see what he has because I know he can dunk, man. Like I,
Mac McClung
um,
can dunk. I know that.
oh yeah,
It's just I don't know. I don't know about him though, because it's one thing to dunk, but can you like excite the crowd? Can you make the dunk on the first attempt? Because we know that's a big thing as well. Because if you're doing like 6, 7 attempts, the crowd is literally dead by attempt three. So then it's like, yeah, now you're just kind of wasting time. But I don't know. And how creative can these guys be when we've kind of seen Vince Carter do everything? We've seen Dominique. We saw Zach Levine. We've seen Aaron Gordon. What can these guys do?
yeah, true. Yeah, like you like my love for the dunk contest kind of faded when Dwayne Wade made that controversial pick for Aaron Gordon.
That annoyed the mess out of me too. I couldn't stand it. And the way he kind of like laughed it off like it was, oh, hoo, hoo, hoo.
I mean, and now he knows why he's not on the panel this year.
And I'm
So,
glad he's not.
oh
Like that
man,
whole moment just seemed like him wanting to be
he
the
dunked
star.
over. He dunked over. He dunked the Orlando Magic mascot, right? Aaron
Yeah,
Gordon.
yeah.
Because I did someone dunked over Taco Fall. Was that him too?
I can't remember. It might have been.
Because someone no, it had to be someone smaller. I remember someone dunked over Taco Fall.
Yeah. Oh, who was that?
Oh my gosh, man!
I'll have to look back and see. Yeah. But
Okay,
I mean, the the Magic mascot dunk. You know, he's on the hoverboard spinning around. Like that was just madness when I saw him make that one. Because I think he caught it, like cupped it behind. I don't know. Levine and Gordon, I gave them so much credit because the dunk contest had been dead for years, and then those two took it back to like the Vince Carter days where it was just guys who were athletic and
it was
creative.
Aaron. Yep. It was Aaron
You know,
Gordon. Yep. Aaron Gordon dunks over Taco Fall 2020 slam dunk contest.
and it's crazy that that Wade decision kind of killed like the chances of seeing Aaron Gordon again almost. Because that's
Didn't
what he did say
he?
after that. He was like, "Man, after this, then I'm done."
Didn't he not? Did he not win that one too in 2020 after the Taco Fall dunk, or was that the one that decided the Aaron Gordon? Because that was the Gordon Levine dunk contest.
I'm trying to think who won that one. Did Levine win that one? I mean, Levine had some good dunks. Yeah, I think Levine won that one because I feel like I remember
No, it
watching
was
it and
Derrick Jones. It was Derrick Jones Jr. who won that one. the 2020.
Which one? Oh, that was the first one that Gordon was in, right?
That was the second one because that was in 2020.
Okay, so Gordon Levine was the first one.
Yeah,
There's no way. Okay, I was about to say there's no way Derrick Jones won the Gordon and Levine one, because if they had done
no,
that, that'd have been like somebody should get arrested for that. But I just remember the Gordon dunk when he jumped up, put it between his legs while his legs were like parallel with the floor, and then dunked it. And I was just like,
bro, this has to be like a 10 across the board. It's like,
right. And it was just like for Gordon, he's not exactly a small guy either. Like for him athletically to do that, that was one of the best I'd seen in like who knows how
it's
many
just like
years.
Blake Griffin dunked over that car, right, or something like that. Like,
Which I mean, even that one, if you think back to it, it's like okay, like he jumped over the hood. It was just weird because seeing him pull out a car and then jump it over, we are just like, oh yeah, nobody's done that. But I mean, thinking back, it's like, yeah, that's also kind of the point where a lot of people were turned off by the dunk contest as well
yeah,
because it
I
just
mean, there
turned
are
into
some
guys jumping over random things.
right. There are some monumental also games like Dwight Howard come with with the Superman cape.
Mm.
Nate Robinson with the kryptonite. Like there were some moments where like, yo, I was looking forward to the dunk contest, but now like, it's like, all right. I do want to see Jericho dunk. I want to see maybe Mac McClung, but other than that, it's like I don't know
But the
Trey.
problem, well, okay, so Dwight Howard, when he was in the dunk contest, we all knew who Dwight Howard was.
That's true.
The average fan, they may only know Kenya Martin Jr. because of his dad. Mac McClung, unless you were a Georgetown fan, or I think he was kind of like a YouTube sensation as well. If you didn't
Or like a
necessarily see
Laker fan,
that,
he played for the Lakers too. I
you don't
think.
know who. Even his Laker days, I don't know how many
Yeah, he
people.
didn't really play that much.
You're right, or even Golden State, he didn't really play that much. Jericho Sims, I think he went to Texas, but he plays in New York, so he probably has more eyeballs on him than the other three. Trey Murphy, mm, I don't know how many people know Trey Murphy. That's been the issue. If you're like, if this dunk contest was like John Morant, Aaron Gordon, Zach Levine, and I
Zion.
don't know, yeah, everybody would tune in. We wouldn't care necessarily that we've seen every dunk done, so what could they do? It'd just be seeing
I'm
four
surprised
guys
John
that
Morant
everybody
doesn't want to
knows.
do it. Like he is young. Like
I could see him do it maybe if the All Star game was like in Memphis. I could see him doing it.
or like a bigger market like LA or something like that. Or
Yeah, yeah, Memphis, LA, Vegas, maybe. Yeah, I mean I shouldn't really decide anything, but maybe that's where he's at. I don't know, or maybe it's just maybe stars don't see the dunk contest as cool anymore. Maybe that's the problem. So they're like, I don't need to do that.
yeah.
Because I mean, stars do the 3 point contest. They don't even care. They want to do the 3 point contest. That's why it's taken over. I mean, it does kind of stink that Steph's not in it this year, but
Yeah.
I mean, still have
It's
big names in it.
injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I think we um ended the. I guess it's fair to say we ended the show with a slam dunk. Ha 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 ha. How do I react to that? But yeah, man, we it was a good show. Um, once again, Jordan's on the we. My boy Kyle Evers on the ones and twos, like Gene always says. You know, other than NFL, NBA, I know you got some XFL happening. I don't really want to get into that right. I mean, we'll talk about that more. Like, if you even want to talk about it next episode, see the new rules and how they can implement into NFL. Rule book. We
I
can
mean,
do
it kicks off this weekend. I
for
will probably watch a few games just to see how it
who's
looks.
on with it? Is it McMahon still?
No, this is The Rock.
The Rock owns it now,
Hmm. Yeah,
so it's in better hands.
yeah.
So yeah,
He said he wants to make it work. So we'll see.
sure. Well, with that being said, man, like I said, the show's on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, basically any podcast streaming platform you listen to your podcast on, be on there. My boy Kyle show chopping on the bit or chopping at the bit, chopping on the bit or
Chomping at
something
the bit.
like chopping at
Chomping at the
chopping
bit.
at the bit.
Hmm.
It's on YouTube. I think it's on all the other platforms too. On
No,
Apple
it's
Podcast.
like it's strictly like YouTube, Facebook. If I do live shows, it's on Twitch.
Hey
I
man,
mean,
if you ever
put
on
them
me
on
on your
LinkedIn.
like
Just go to
when
YouTube.
you like when do you do your shows? Like like what days?
It's kind of whenever I just kind of feel like doing an episode. I don't really have a set time. I probably need to get a set time, but hmm, try a week.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say if you ever want me on an episode, man, we can, you know, uh, chop it up with sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Let me know. Um, if you need a co-host or if you need a co-host or a guest on your show, let me know, man. But other than that, man, I mean, do you have any other final thoughts before we head out?
No, I mean, yeah, NFL's over. I know a lot of fans are sad by that, but like we just said, you got XFL, you got USFL if you gotta fill your football need. I think between those two leagues will basically take you until training camp for the NFL. So I mean, there's still something. Plus, you got the draft. I mean, NFL fans, they get into the draft anyway. But like you kind of said at the beginning of the show, it's crazy how these leagues have turned, the sports calendar into like it's 365. Even though the NFL season's over, there'll still be NFL stories every day from here on out, and
Oh yeah,
that's just the reach of sports, which is why I just like sports so much.
yeah. Like you said, like the NFL season has ended, but not really, because like yeah, coach firings, coach hirings.
Yeah. Free agency is like 3 weeks away, I think.
I got the draft, like you said. Maybe on this show we can do like a mock draft like we did on the Sports Empire Network. We can come up with something, and then also I wanted to learn how to do that grid we did last week or this week with the grid with the different teams. We can do that
Mm-hmm.
like the tic tac toe. I'm trying to learn how to do that on this show too. So yeah, definitely we got some content coming up, man. It's gonna be some good content. So like with that being said, I'm Jordan, my boy Kyle, man, and we'll be back again next week.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
y'all.